All right, and we are live. Shalom, Israel. Shalom. Y'all about some y'all shot rock a thumb to the brothers. Y'all shamar lot time about some y'all shot to the sisters. Brother ISUPK, the Israelite School Universal Practical Knowledge, established in 1969, 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. We are led by Commanding General Yohana. We ain't affiliated with no other organization. Get ready for the Lord's 55th annual Passover, April 20th, Durham, North Carolina, man. $200 per adult, 17 and older, man. Get them funds in ASAP so we can lock this down. We can get all the provisions that we need. And that's going to give you all access passes to all the events going on that entire week, man. You don't want to miss it. Get your plane tickets, get your bus tickets, get your walking shoes. However, if you're going to be like I don't want Yakuza out there in New York walking to the Passover. Listen, start now. You might make it there in time. Get your hotels, man. Yeah, have a little walking around with it. We're gonna have a bunch of vendors out there. You know what I'm saying? So get ready. Get ready. Make it. You know, get it solid so you ain't got to stress over at the last minute. We know how fast this comes. You know, around every year. So, all right. So let's, if we can, real quick, just to make sure that we avoid the issue that we had last week. Definitely apologize for the technical errors. If I'm on YouTube right now with it. Type of 1 in the chat if you can hear me on YouTube. If you're with us on YouTube or on any of the social media platforms, really. If you can give us a 1 in the chat, just let us know. Let us know that you can hear us. Let me play this real quick. Mic check, mic check, mic check. Here we go. All right. I think we're good. All right. So last week, we're pretty much going to go over everything that we went through last week because the damn near the entire class was done on mute. And as much as you may have taken from the board, I think we're a little bit brighter here today. Again, selecting for the glare, we're going to try to work around that. But all right, here we go. Right, just let me get to my notes. I apologize. We're going to be going over the prepositions and possessives. Instead of the construct of prefix and suffix, we're going to try to familiarize it with prepositions and possessives. So the prepositions are normally going to be what you see at the beginning of the word. And this is going to help give you an indication on like the target, the subject matter, who it's pertaining to, what it's pertaining to, male, female, kind of things of that nature. So we're going to start off prepositions. All right. Let's see how this is going to work. Get back in focus. Okay. Prepositions. We're going to start off. Need to start getting new markers. All right. So you can see that clear enough. Ba. Da. Ha. Wa. And we'll throw one at the bottom. Yeah. Can make that a little bigger. So now again, ISUPK Milwaukee, LASHAWAN QADASH class. Supposed to be starting at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Again, we had some technical difficulties today trying to mess with the audio. It seemed like at least we solved this portion of it. So, you got Milwaukee, and then you got Minnesota, you got all over the Midwest, you got Chicago, you got St. Louis, you got all up and down the East Coast, the West Coast, you got the UK, Raoban out there teaching an excellent class in the UK, completely different time zone. But pretty much any day of the week you can catch a class, man. But Fridays is a LASHAWAN QADASH classes, so you definitely want to tune in. So now, all right, so we'll start working our way out a little bit. So now, not only do our characters, have and we've gone over this in the previous classes, have a pictographic meaning to it that has, different layers depending on the context and the application of it. And these prepositions being derived from some of those same characters, that's gonna give a better explanation and intention of the words, sentences that we're constructing going forward. So maybe this go with green. So I is gonna be I, talking about yourself pretty much, or more personal. Ba, in, or on. All right, we're kind of trying to steer clear of the glare here, but ba, in or on. Da, to do. Ha, the. Wa, and. Ya, he, it. So now, of course, the characters themselves, if you were to use them, if you were to see them in the beginning of the word, and we're going to go over a couple examples of it as well. What I was using last time that we're probably going to reuse again was the beginning of the Lord's Prayer, because it throws the cat on the ground. It gives you a good visual of possessives and prepositions being used, kind of side by side. So you can see how they can be compounded also, because you could say and the. So you could see waha, or in the baha, and he waya, and I wa'a. That might just be I don't want to see dumbed down, but might just see the like the wa, and then you'll get the word, or even at the end of it, it could be the possessive that gives you that indication too. So again, we start getting into the sentence structure, the word structure. A lot of this, you'll see how this starts playing in. So again, going back to the Hebrew, and actually, we shouldn't have to refresh on that. You're pretty clear on how to identify each of the characters.
Yeah.
So we don't really need that right now. So we'll just get into the next set. Shut the ka. Right, so yeah, we got ka. La. Ma. Sha. And tha. Here we're gonna have it as like. Yep.
Can't see the S there.
Yeah, that's very thing. It's a little better. The last little. Wow. Yeah, that glare is kind of cutting into it a little bit. You can see that that's an L, that's an A. L-A, La. Los Angeles, La. L-A. Yeah, like. Yeah, two. Ma is of. Sha. Pertaining to. So that's going to be different than the inference of La. Sha. We pertaining to. And so like La, when we say like when we salute, La Yasha'Allah, talking about to Israel, making that to try to give this distinction. So pertaining to, almost as if you're talking about something. It's I don't want to say it's gonna be more specific, but like it's I get that's the only way that I guess I can kind of explain it right now. It's talking about something pertaining to a subject matter or an item or a person. Shah. So if I was talking about like that house, like Shah, hey man, I think to look up the word for house, like the brothers, Sha'akim, pertaining to the Akim, pertaining to the brothers, versus La'akim, to the brothers. Kind of talking about them versus talking to them. And then Tha, it's going to be you, she, and how you're using it. And just to kind of keep a side note, depending on how you use it, it can have a future tense form of thought. And again, that's going to be contextual. But just because every time you see thought doesn't mean it's always going to be future tense. You could be talking about you, you could be talking about she. It's very, very like.
Right.
Yeah.
Is ta also do you singular like rakata? Rakatam? That's not more than one, but rakata is one person.
At the end of the word, yes. Okay. Yeah, so these are normally going to be at the beginning.
Okay.
So if you start your word like this, then it's going to have that effect to it.
Okay.
And this is just very light. Markers, it's a lot. Yeah. See if I can draw that a little bolder. See how the word looks. That's better. That's better. Future tense. So just depending on the application of it in the beginning of the word, your intention for it, where they talk about, you or she, you could use it as a future tense preposition, but again, contextual. You want to make sure that it's being applied in the right manner to convey, that thought or that the attention behind it. Let's give it another second or two. Break that down. And we're going to erase this and get into possessives. If you needed I don't think this is necessary to until we actually start building some words and sentences. I'm just gonna leave it like this, and then we'll actually play around with the Hebrew text to give you again like the visual of it. I will erase these. Well, some of these are just doing a different order anyway. Let's see if the red and blue work a little bit better. Alrighty. So now we're going to be talking about possessives. Possessives. I don't know if you can really see the color on there, but see how this goes. All right, so now again, this is what you're going to normally see at the end of the word to let you know, what it's. I don't want to say just ownership, but if the preposition gave you like the inference, this is going to kind of bring it home to let you know what it's talking about. You might be talking to it, the subject matter, and then this will let you know what it's talking about. So you can look that up real quick. Yeah, so the preposition is going to kind of give you the subject matter. The possessive is going to kind of give you the ownership of it. So, like, you could be talking about a specific thing, or talking the preposition being the subject matter, and then this kind of giving you the idea on, like what aspect are you talking about the house, the stoop, the roof, versus like the dog around the house, your dog, their dog, that dog, ownership of the dog and or the house. All right, so all right, so possessives, yeah. I think we're gonna have a little bit more of these than the other. Yeah. Ka. Wa. Ha. No, wa. Come. Come. Hum. Not ham. Hum. Abraham. Not Abraham. Hum. Hun. And then put these over here. Anya. One. And then when you see it just happens to be in a perfect spot. It's all still pretty light. All right, I think the blade shows up better though. So yeah, talking about my. Ka, talking about yours. Wow. His or his. Her. Ha. Talking about her. You know why? Is our. Come, y'all. Con. All right, so con is also going to be y'all, but this is strictly for plural. Hum. Now sometimes you can see this as and it'll mean the same thing. It's talking about there. And then similar to kan, y'all being plural but feminine, kan with the N at the end of it is going to be, it's going to have that similar effect. So it's still going to be there. Just like both of these are going to be y'all, but this one is specifically gendered, plural. It's a plural form, you know. Well, obviously, y'all, both of them are going to be plural, but this is specifically for females. So this would be the masculine use. This would be the feminine use. Same thing here: masculine use, feminine use. And how should I say this too? Because you're going to see words that, by definition, they're going to have that, I guess, a feminine origin to it or initial implication. But we're not talking about like male and female, boy, girl necessarily all the time. Again, this would be contextual. So you could see an instance where maybe con is, it's like when we say yes, given an affirmation. That's not feminine in the sense of we're talking to, for, about a female, but I want to say the characteristics of the word is where you start getting into the masculine and feminine aspects, and like the implication of it. So this, again, and oftentimes you're going to see this with a lot of the words, names. If it ends with a ma, that's normally going to be a masculine verb, name, noun, adjective, what have you. Same thing with the na. If you see it ending with a na, it's normally going to be a female or feminine. I should say feminine straight down to it. And similar to this, you might also see it as an. You might see come, or it's like or hum. It just might be or an. Again, you're going to see this at the end of the word. Our possessors are normally going to be falling at the end of the word. And again, that's just going to be for feminine use, though. So Anya saying I am. I am. And we'll see that we'll give an example on how that actually gets put into play. So one, again, at the end of the word, if you were to see this attached to it, that's going to help convert the verb into a name. So, verbs and actions. If your name, if the defining quality of you was I don't know, boxing, as a verb, something that you're doing, and then you were to add this to the end of it, it'll convert that verb, that action, into a name. So you'll see. Let's look at what good.
My name is Slaki. So my name Kawal Shwat. Is that like a verb?
Crack of the whip. That's more of an effect. Yeah. Unless we were to say, one who is cracking the whip.
Okay, doing it.
Yeah. You're kind of like the result. Yeah. Let's just try to look this up real quick. Give me 1 second. You know this, but will come. It's like I'm trying to see how to apply this. Don't worry about that. But if you were to take an action word, if you were to take a verb and you wanted to try to convert that into a name, you could apply this to the end of it. I'm not saying that's going to be like the proper pronoun for it. Pause. That just felt weird. But just the application of one as a possessive, you see that there. And then odd again, when you see that at the end, it's going to be more of a categorical sense of a plural. Normally we would say, quathium. To demonstrate that we're talking about more than one, but how you could say like the word you and be talking to a crowd of people. So that lets you know, I mean, you're talking to many, it becomes a plural. Just again, how you apply it. All right, so I'll give you another, take these off. I'll give you another second. It's clear enough. Okay. So now we'll mess around with a couple examples of the applications. So again, the example that I used last week with the Lord's Prayer. Here, give me 1 second. There it So now to use this as an example, all right, so in the Lord's Prayer, you can see Abinawa. So Abinawa Shabash the mind. And if we were to go back to our notes, keep them up. Oh. All right, so as we've gone over in when we did the Lord's Prayer breakdown, Abba, Father. So now Nawa, if you look at our possessives list, Nawa is the possessor. So our Father. So in English, the closest way that you could translate it from Abinawa, Father, has been that possessive hours in English. It's literally going to translate out as such. Now, I guess I'm kind of looking at this with the English characters. We're going to read it from left to right. In the Hebrew, it's always going to be spelled from right to left. So when I write this back out, it's going to look kind of backwards because now you're going to see select that. So let me separate that. The way that we're going to write this in the Hebrew characters, like this whole thing would have to get mirrored. So now you would end up looking at it as Abanawa because it goes from the right to the left. But just in the English, that comparison, this is how we would read it from the left to the right. When we're using the English characters to give the phonetic, to give like I guess the how would you say like the visual phonetic breakdown of the Hebrew characters. So we're gonna see this. That is first in the paleo up top, and then we'll go in the Assyrian underneath. So a lot short. These are gonna be separate. Oh, I'm gonna be separate actually. I'm gonna pronounce each and every one of them. And even though we have a consonantal language, like today you would call things like this vowels like that, or the sound effect at the end of ba, na, wa. Nowadays you might consider them vowels based, especially based off how you spell it in English. They would make that argument. But linguistically, we have a consonantal language. That's just how it gets expressed. During different captivities, people try to superimpose their culture because of how they talk onto ours, just to make it kind of assimilate. They were essentially gentrifying our native tongue. So in Paleo Hebrew, you're gonna see it expressed that way. Go back to the red just to kind of save some room. In the Assyrian, you're gonna see it now. Penmanship aside, everybody's penmanship might be a little bit different, but again, collectively, we try to keep all in the same neighborhood. So Abba Nawa, Abba Nawa, Abba Nawa. This, we don't use the dot and the dash and kind of like that line system because again, in the Assyrian, they try to superimpose their culture on our language, which is why you've got the different forms of it. This really isn't as pictographic. You are going to see some correlations between these characters and these, but this being more pictographic, and again, we've had different classes on that. You're going to see how some of that got lost on this side. But again, reading from the right to the left in the Hebrew and Assyrian, reading from the left to the right in English characters, and just standard sentence structure that we're all more familiar with. So again, with the possessive at the end of it, you can see that being ours. So we're talking about our Father who art in heaven. So now you guys see now this is pertaining to, no, Shah is in, what do we say? Yeah, because these are going to be the prepositions. So Shah pertaining to, ba, in, or on, Shema is heaven, Yum makes this plural. So Avinaw Shabbat Shemayim. So pertaining to, in the heavens. So letting you know kind of like the destination, what it's talking about, location in this case, in, and then this is the subject matter. So in English, the best way that they could represent this or express this who art, again, that kind of being who it's talking about. Well, sorry, I should reverse it maybe. Again, our Father who art in heaven. So kind of complementing this previous word, our Father being the subject matter. In this word, the heavens being that subject matter, that location, what it's pertaining to. So again, who art in, ba, in, pretty much a literal translation through it. That did not get much better. The shadow doesn't help. Now, in English, you're just going to read heaven. But in the scriptures, we have an understanding that there are different heavens. Where the sky is, where the Most High is, condition, almost like a state of mind almost. I believe in some context you can apply this almost like a feeling. So this being the possessive, these being the prepositions, kind of setting up that word, and this being a whole sentence, or a whole chunk of the sentence within itself. Abinawa Shabbat Shemayim, our Father who art in heaven. Shabbat. Shabbat Shemayim. Verses in the Assyrian. Okay, so giving you the separations on pronunciation, lets you know that each character gets fully pronounced, and then the connective lets you know that that's combined. And anytime I've never seen it different, you see a ya and a ma together, they're pretty much always joined. So yum, giving it that plural inference. Yeah, and again, you can see some of the similarities between like this sha in the Assyrian and the sha in the Hebrew. Kind of something similar with the ba. Not so much with the ma. And especially in the beginning or in the middle of the word versus the end, you can have two different forms of ma. So just be aware of that. You're only ever going to see this in the beginning or in the middle. You're going to see this version at the end. So Abinawa Shabbat Shemayim, showing pretty clear cut usage of a possessive with the preposition. See about getting a couple other examples from here. And so we'll get into accounting because again, you're going to use these same characters as part of the number system as well, individually combined. So again, you just want to be careful on how you're reading it, and try to understand more of the vocabulary of words. So when we're talking about like months or days or a number of an item, a number of people, and you see some of the characters that you might initially try to understand as the preposition or except as a possessive at the end, has a different meaning. Again, which is why we got these classes, and it's very important to tune into it. Like even the instructors, learning from different brothers in different zones. We're talking about a language that has been kept from us for a very long time that we're coming back to. So again, every Friday, all across the board, you got LASHAWAN QADASH classes being held in different time zones on different continents. So, and there's a stockpile of videos, a stockpile of videos. But you want to make sure, because ISUPK is not affiliated with anybody, you want to make sure that the classes that you're learning from are coming from One West and not uh well, without being too, I guess, unbrotherly about it, not some bastard stepchild, and that's somebody who is a product of people that left home just to pursue their own means and their own lusts, and who abandoned the truth, who abandoned home. So now, one second, 1 second. Slack. Should keep that fresh. So, of course, any questions, comments, or concerns, type them into the chat. Engage with us during our live classes, and these are all things it's appropriate for us to go over, even if we have a discrepancy. If there's something you don't agree with, you know more about it. That's why we have to have the classes. That's why we have to have that open line of communication between us, which is why all our classes are live. Initially we don't pre-record class and then send it out. We do live classes so that we can engage with the people if they need a question answered on the spot. Otherwise, hit us up, contact us, however you may need to, and then we'll work on getting back to you. But I think some other solid examples that'll show you kind of back to back. So, our Father which art in heaven, hallowed Kodash, be thy name. I don't want to write the whole thing out. All right, so in this case, we can use some ka. I am killing it. We need markers. We need some markers. This one. Some ka. Now I throw the dot in there. Well, I should say we throw the dot in there a lot of times just to kind of show you the separation of, this is two different characters, but they are combined. This is one character by itself. So pronunciation Just gonna let you know how this word is pronounced, how it's presented. So Shamka, we know that Sham. You know what Sham means?
No.
Sham. Just this one right here. You know what that one means?
Nah, sir.
It means a name. This was one of Noah's sons, Shem, who survived the flood. One of the 8 persons that survived the flood, Shem, who come Israelites, Edomites, Ammonites, Elamites, Moabites. You know, a plethora of nations comes out of Shem, and his name means a name. So and then Ka, in this case being the possessive. Let me scroll back down. Ka. Now here we're talking about your. We're talking now. It's a little blocked out, but Y-O-U-R, your. Ka, your. That's possessive. Let it know who it belongs to. So this is not going to literally translate into your name, your. Well, kind of in a way it does. Just the old English way that they had translated it, again, to the best of their abilities. So this is going to translate into thy name. So in modern day sense, you could just say in your name, our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be your name. You could say that, your name. And then I guess you could also say in old English Quaker dialect, could represent thy. You could also fairly make that equivocation. You know, thy name, your name, because again, thy is talking about you. That's that's thy horse or thine, depending on how you want to use it. The grammatics were a little bit different. Nothing too unfamiliar though. But just for simplicity's sake, we'll just keep it as your. So Shamka, and you're gonna see how similar to Spanish, how a lot of times you're gonna see like the word, and I'm horrible with Spanish. I'm not the best with Hebrew, but I'm definitely horrible with Spanish. But kind of how they almost say it backwards, like, you know, instead of the green ball, they might say like that ball that is green, like, you know, the green ball that's over there, the ball that is green that is, you know, over here. It's almost set up kind of backwards. So Sham being name, Ka talking about your. If you're gonna go from modern to old school, your and thy synonymous. Damn near like verbatim. So when you're saying our Father who art in heaven, so Abinawa Shabbat Shemayim. Prior to it, we would have had Haya. Damn, that is. You would have seen Qadash. Yeah. And that would have read as hallowed. Again, Qadash meaning holy, but you have synonyms that could stand in the place of it. So if you were to say hallowed for Qadash instead of holy for Qadash, there almost wouldn't be any difference because they both have the pretty much the same meaning. You know, hallowed, something sacred, something separate. Same as holy, something separate. And then this would just this is gonna be so be essentially. Hallowed be, hallowed is. So now you're not going to look for like a preposition or possessive on this word, just because it, you know, not every word needs that. Like this doesn't have a like possessive or a preposition. I It's just its own words. So Nawa Shaba Shemayim Kodash Haya Shemka. Hallowed be thine name. And we're going to see that ownership of Ka again. The word Ka. You know, I didn't even write that out in the Asian. We'll be all right. I guess let's just do that real quick. Shamka. Again, with the English characters, it's going to go from left to right. The Hebrew is going to go from right to left. These being connected. Shamka is being separate. And you can kind of see how the English characters, where they stem from, where they come from. Ma, ka, ka. Starts making sense after a while. Remember there was this one movie, I can't remember what the hell it's called right now. Oh, shit. But some Greek dude who was always trying to show like the origin, the etymology of any word comes from the Greek. When the Hebrew language is an actual language, oral and handwritten, um, preceded the Greek for all intents and purposes. So now you're going to see this. And again, you can see some of the similarities. Sha, sha. Not so much with the ma. I mean, that's not entirely out of the ballpark, but it's not really home. Whereas like the ka, I mean, that's come on, sha, the ka, sha, the ka. It's kind of hard to ignore. Again, penmanship aside, and everybody's penmanship might be a little bit different. So let's just try to keep it, practice, repetition. So Shamka, thy name or your name. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, or hallowed be your name. You say that. Now to show another example of that possessive, Malakwaka. And this, of course, is talking about thy kingdom. Because again, you got this cod down here talking about your, thy, and get away with that. So Malak, king, Malakwat, kingdom. Let's see if this black. So in the paleo, nope, that dead. Just about dead. Malak. Wow. Again, that ka, your, thy, Malak, wa, ka. Thy kingdom, your kingdom. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom. Or you could just as easily have said, your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is. But that's just old Quaker English style. Just let it be. Nothing wrong with it. Doesn't get in the way of nothing. In the Assyrian, it's going to look like that. Malakwaka. Thy kingdom. Mhm. right, so like the next example that I was going to bring up, that's just going to be another ka. You're going to see another example of the possessive, how the word is being applied as possessive, who it belongs to, point of origin, again, subject matter. Let's see if we can find a okay, I kind of like that. That kingdom come, that will be done. Be done. Ratazak. That's one we can use. Ratazak. So when you go into the Lord's Prayer, for example, you're going to see we got Ratazak here. You're going to see another word. This is the one I was just going to skip just because it was another possessive with that same ka at the end. Za. So again, your, thy. In this case, they just use thy. This is talking about will. Is will. Whereas Ba'arataza is talking about something different. It's going to be now ba, going back to it, it's going to be either in or on. In this case, it's kind of interchangeable because arataza is a whole separate word. So this portion, arataza here, has nothing to do with this like that. This like that, like that. So that was very clear, I guess. In this case, we're just talking about earth. So again, Abinaw LASHAWAN QADASH Hayashamka Yahawa Malakuka Taba Ratazaka, thy will, Haya, be Aisha done on earth. On earth. Rataza is, in this case, you can use it for just that kind of generic term for earth, land. Land mass, depending on how you want to throw it out there. It's just talking about the earth. It's just talking about the land. In reference to the heavens, where the Most High is, talking about where we are. just to kind of break down that prayer. But again, we can see an example of the preposition then, and what it's talking about, or like where to, how to apply it, where, in this case, kind of a location, giving it that location, inner, what's happening, where it's at, when something's gonna go down, where it's gonna go down, what is gonna go down, and then the possessives also help with that too. Whose will? It's thy will. It's your will. And we're in this case, we know that we're talking about to and about the Most High. We're saying we're making a prayer to the Most High. So we're saying, whose will that they're talking about. Thy will, your will, Lord. Talking about the Most High in this case. So thy will be done, which would have been yeah. Shut. Done. Shut. So again, you're not looking for propositions and pronoun or propositions and the possessives here or here. These are their own separate words. You're going to see like the root word here, arataza. Shit, you might even see a word like this, ba'aratazaka. And that's essentially talking about in your earth or on your land. Again, just depending on how you're going to apply it. Gives you a basic kind of rules of thumb like this. In shorter words, for the most part, you're not going to have any prepositions or possessives on, little words like this. But on some of these larger constructed words, again, you're going to see a few different expressions established in that one sequence of characters. So this, in earth, and the next line, as it is in heaven. Kawa haya bashamai, as it is in heaven. You can see how you can apply the possessive to see who it's talking about. I might get corrected on this, if this might not be the correct way to try to build up the word itself. But if I were to try to say like in or on our earth, on our land, because again, it doesn't just have to be exclusive to earth. This could be talking about land. All right, but if I wanted to say ours, on our earth. So again, you can kind of see how point for point, it's going to sound like some broken English. On earth, our. On earth, ours. When, in actuality, on our earth. Let's cut this one out. That's not what we're seeing here. So Ba'arataza, Ba, Ra, Daza. Ra, Daza. All pronounced independent of each other. None of those are connected. In the Assyrian, Ba, Ra. At the end. Barataza. And again, the taza, you're going to see that expressed in one of two ways. In the beginning or in the middle of the word. You're going to see it like that. At the end of the word, and keep in mind the height. Mind that height of it, because it should be pretty characteristic throughout the entire word or sentence, passage, whatever you're looking at. It should be the relative height. Versus, you can see the height difference here, how that changes. At the end of the word, you can utilize that version of the character. At the beginning of the word, you're going to look at that. But yeah, just a couple points on what to look for when you're reading in the Hebrew. So that when you're trying to pronounce this word, especially again with the kind of the longer words and sentences that might have a couple different character phrases built up inside of it. You're gonna have that root word. It's gonna be, essentially your subject matter, and then how it's affected. So ba. So you're not struggling, like trying to pronounce these together. Normally it's just gonna be pronounced by itself. So then you can just focus on this. So how do you pronounce that? Artiza, Aratiza, Aratiza. So now once you get comfortable with that, it's just very simple in the beginning of it. Now you're just gonna add a ba. You practice Aratiza for that root word, Aratiza. I'll just throw a ba in front of it. Baratiza. So just some of the identifying markers that you can look for in the scriptures. And again, compare and contrast it to the English so that you can demonstrate that you're staying on target. All right, so with that, we're going to clip the rest of this class. Appreciate y'all patience for sticking with us. Glad we had the opportunity. We kind of worked out some kinks to address those issues. But again, practice makes perfect, man. We got classes, a whole library of classes, man. From General Q, Donald Hazahab out there in New York headquarters, to Morale out there in Philly, Raj out there in Chicago, Raoban out there in the UK, Adon Maccabi out there in Minnesota, there's Malakama out there in Cali, Texas, Salaki, if I got the location wrong. And I'm preaching also 1,000 among the bar, ISUPK Milwaukee. Join us every Friday, 7 p.m. Again, today we got a little bit held back with some of the technical issues with the audio, trying to figure that out from last week. But every Friday, join us, ISUPK Milwaukee, LASHAWAN QADASH. ISUPK.com. Check out a school near you. Get ready for the Lord's Passover. We got Purim coming up also in a couple weeks, in about 3 weeks. Thursday, February 22nd at sundown until Friday, February 23rd. So again, get with the school near you. See what you can provide. If you need any help or assistance with something, give them a call and see how that fits in. But until next time, Shalom Israel, Yah B'Shem Yahshua, thumb to the brothers, Yah Shemar Latan, B'Shem Yahshua to the sisters. Shalom.